Hello, it's me, Alex. I'm in my bedroom. Case is playing a video game behind me. Cats are trying to make chaos with my shoes. It's just a normal day in my house. How is everyone doing? So I have my little Ouija board earrings. I'm wearing a combination of some of the Huda Beauty neon pink obsessions with some Divina shadows. The one that's like here is the shade Shuggies from Divina, which I got specifically because of the name, because I have sugar gliders. So I kind of just had to. Oh, and we have a catto. Goose says hello. He likes attention. Open. There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to sit very specifically so that way y'all don't get like blinded by the thing, because otherwise it'll be too dark in this room. But yeah, so here's little Goosey. So let's see. Hi, Ari, Kara, Lori, Audra, Christine, Alex, Toya, everyone. Sharon. So many people here. Okay. So let me put Goose back here. There you go, baby. You go play with Case. Ivy might make an appearance, but she's a little bit more shy. So, but anyway, the purpose of this live, we're going to be talking about some of my favorite things that I use to do kind of like Halloween-y, spooky, costumey makeup. My senior year of college, I took a stage makeup class kind of as my elective because I went to a conservatory school, and even though I studied religion and gender studies, I decided to take advantage of that. Hello, Ivy. She's attacking my neck. Ain't that how it always is? Here's my baby. Here's my baby girl. Say hello, Ivy. This is gonna be chaos. Okay.
We call her cat soulmate.
She is my cat soulmate. So, but yeah, I just wanted to share some of the things that I like to use for stuff like that. But first, I wanted to share my Black Lives Matter resource. And today is actually Mental Health Awareness Day, so I wanted to share the Black Mental Health Alliance. So basically, it's an organization that I'm on their website right now. They say, I know, right? I understand, girl. And they said their mission is to develop, promote, and sponsor trusted, culturally relevant educational forums, trainings, and referral services that support the health and well-being of Black people and other vulnerable communities. And I think that mental health is so incredibly important, especially in this day and age where just the state of the entire world. I know, Ivy. Baby, I know. The state of the world is so difficult. So, yeah, Ivy just is very talkative right now. But since mental health is so important, I really wanted to share that resource specifically because I thought that it would be very good for today and also every day, because Black mental health is incredibly important. So go check them out. The link to them is in my description bar. Yeah. Yeah, so Ivy is being a mess right now, but I love her very much. She is my baby. I know. I gotta talk back to her. That's just... Sorry, like this stream before ColourPop releases another mediocre palette. Yes, hello baby again. She is being a needy baby. I love her. Needy baby. Okay. So let's talk about some of the stuff that I use when I'm going to use stage makeup. Firstly, was something that's downstairs, but I realized about 1 minute before I was set to go live that I forgot it, and that's liquid latex. If you are like a beginner to special effects and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on liquid latex, because at first, since when I took my stage makeup class, it was required for us to get like this Ben Nye kit. And I thought that, like, okay, that's the only way to get liquid latex. No, get it from Walmart. It's like $8 for like a can about this big. I 10 out of 10 would recommend getting that than rather like getting a brand name. The only reason I wouldn't say that is if you have very sensitive skin. I'm very blessed in that my skin is not sensitive by any means. Like, quite frankly, if a product breaks me out, I am impressed. So I just get mine from Walmart, and it has done me pretty well. I use it to create wounds. I'll usually do it in conjunction with either tissues or with cotton balls. Usually, I know you can use other things, but generally, since I'm a broke person, I like to use stuff that I can find around the house. So that's one thing that I want to recommend just kind of from the beginning. Now let's get into a few palettes that I have. Firstly is one that I thought that I lost because I moved here back in March, and I thought, like, I only use this palette around Halloween. So when I was looking for it today, I thought I had straight up lost it, like, entirely. But no, I just put it in a drawer, like, away from my other stuff until Halloween. And that is this Bethany Master Cream palette. It comes in this metal tin. It is 12 colors. And I know that a lot of people like to use water-activated face paints, which I have been interested in trying, but those are a little bit more expensive. And so I like to use this since it's also, since I started learning special effects makeup on Bethany. This is kind of what I use. I thought that it was really nice because when I started off doing makeup like that, the kit that I got for my stage makeup class basically kind of had these colors up here, but none of like the kind of secondary colors. I know that green is a secondary color, not a primary color, but it just had this part. And it was really nice because on one hand, we basically learned how to mix our own foundation shades from scratch, which means that like I can, if I have the time and the wherewithal to do it, I can take, the white, the red, the yellow, and I can eventually dilute it all together to get about my skin tone. But that is too much. If I don't wear foundation anymore. When I do, actually, I've considered rebuying it for this year now that Kat Von Damn Girl, Why Don't You Vaccinate Your Kids isn't a part of KVD Vegan Beauty. I really like the Lock-It foundation for stage makeup stuff. I've used Bethany in the past as well, and it's fine, but I like the base that the KVD Vegan Beauty provides a little bit better. Bless you, honey. So I like the base that provides a lot better. I don't like it for everyday wear anymore. I used to, but I find that like if I use that as a foundation for when I have to do liquid latex, make some wounds and stuff, since it's so full coverage, it works very good as a special effects sort of stage makeup foundation. And Bethany, you are right. It is spackle. That is what it is. I usually like to use that with the NYX Angel Veil Primer as sort of a base in like doing stage makeup. So that's kind of my preferred base product. I just haven't bought it in a while because a lot of the looks that I have been doing have been a little, like I've been able to, usually just like cover my face in colors and kind of go from there, or just kind of like let whatever part of my face, just let it shine through. So this is so nice. I like working with this. As you can see, the white is like hella beat up because that and the black are usually the ones I get the most use out of, and all of the colors become a little bit more secondary, but this was such a good investment. I use this part of it to kind of just mix up the colors, and it is so great. And yes, the cats are doing the most in the background. They have slept all day, and now they have decided, like, hello, we're going to need attention.
Makes my life difficult.
Yeah. So I just mix them on this end, and I'll just like wipe it off, rinse it off, by like before I put it away. So it's I don't really have a separate tray just because I feel like this works just fine. I usually just mix it in the lids of my palettes because I'm a little bit of a heathen. I'm not saying it's the best, but I am saying it's what I do. I have considered getting a separate palette. I have the ABH lip palette and all of that. which did actually come with like a little itty bitty palette, but I'm not sure if that's still in my possession. Like, I know the palette is, but I'm not sure about where the actual like little mixing palette is. But I do still have the brush from that because that does have a nice little scraper where I can go into the little creams in here. The only thing I don't like about this is that the lids, since they're so close together, the lids are a little bit like difficult to get off, especially for me as someone who, the one thing that I like single shadows objectively, but I don't like using them because I have like fingernails and I'm a heathen. But let me show you kind of how it swatches. So this is just a purple one. It's just called purple. It's not anything fancy. But as you can see, it's like really nice and creamy. Yeah, and it just goes on like paint pretty much. Yeah, so that's kind of how all of them perform. They're all pretty nice and pigmented. I just mix it with each other and do all of that, and it's pretty easy to work with. I've never had any trouble. The only thing that I do recommend is using a primer beforehand, just so that way it doesn't like accentuate your pores too much. Like that's not something you're going to see too much, like if you're doing it from a distance from stage makeup. But for my own personal, like trying to do my own makeup, sometimes, you know, you'll put stuff down and it'll just accentuate the texture of your face. I usually just I have a couple of paint brushes that I got from Michael's that I'll sometimes use. I also like the little latex triangle sponges, because that was also something that I learned on, and I find those to be just like really convenient. I know that they're not the greatest for the environment, but from my experience, those usually work the best as far as like applying just like a really nice opaque amount of color. You know, maybe I will do a mixing my own foundation out of this video. I'm out of practice of it, but I can probably still pull it off, I hope. Now for another Ben Nye product. This one is a little bit older. This one came with my original kit, so I think I need to replace it soon. But this is their bruise wheel, and as you can guess, this is a wheel specifically for making just like wounds and stuff, and it works. It does a very, very, very good job on that. You know, I usually use it with a brush, latex sponge, and they also have more like crunchy little sponges that give it a little bit more texture and all of that to do, you know, just kind of stippling, make it bruisey. For that class, we actually had to basically create our own makeup morgue on Pinterest of different like makeup from different decades, like different techniques we could use. And one of the things that we had to do was we had to look up like real life wounds, not special effects movie wounds. So that way we could learn like how a bruise actually heals, what wounds look like at different stages. So that way when we were going to go in with this for a more realistic one,
you would tell them about the time you watched my bruise heal?
Yeah, one time Case got a very big bruise. And I asked if I could take pictures of it along the way to put in my makeup morgue because it very much interested me. So there was a little bit of trauma related to some of those photos that I found online. Some of them were absolutely disgusting, and I definitely had to watch like a lot of cute animal videos afterwards as like brain bleach. But I will say that it was very effective in teaching me how to basically make special effects wounds look like the real thing. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but it did teach me something. Okay. Now I have a few palettes here that I like to use. These are more mainstream that you will be able to find nowadays. And I'll show you one that, like, my teacher taught us on cream products specifically, but I got this palette and added it to my collection. As in I bought a second one of this, which that might give it away if you're an avid watcher of my channel, what this palette is. The Urban Decay Electric palette, I basically added this to my sort of makeup wardrobe for that class. And I think it did a lot because a lot of the fantasy type looks, I would use some of these shades as like contour, blush, and I found that this works really nicely because it's not an eyeshadow palette, it is a pressed pigment palette. So even if you're sensitive and can't use it around your eyes, if you're okay with dealing with a little bit of staining on the rest of your face, I loved using this as like fantasy blush colors, highlights, just doing a lot of really cool detail work on my face. We did one where we just had to pick like a Shakespearean character, and I did one of the fairies from A Midsummer Night's Dream, and so I did a combination of like the purples, the pinks, and like this green here as the look that I did, and it worked out really, really nicely. I used like this shade Urban as a contour, this as a bronzer, and this as kind of like a blush highlight. And then I used those plus the green around my eyes, and I think it went really well. I think one of the things that helped me do well in that class is the fact that I've always been a very dramatic makeup person, and with stage makeup, you really have to exaggerate everything. Like, you're not going to want stage makeup to look good when you're actually like, you know, up close looking in the mirror. It's something that you have to be able to see from a distance. So I would learn to kind of do my stage makeup and look at like the mirror across the room instead of just my average makeup mirror. So it was pretty fun, and I learned a lot, and I used, and this was just such a fun thing for that class. And I also, for my final project, I did a cyborg look where basically, like, I used liquid latex around this part of my face. I had some wire sticking out, and then I kind of created, I mixed the black and the white to create like a deep gray, and then I used the shade Revolt on top to kind of just like make it look metallic, like I was an actual like cyborg. And I will post a picture in the Discord if I can find it. That was back in 2016. So that was 4 years ago. That was back when I had blonde hair. But that's probably one of my favorite special effects looks that I've ever done. Yeah. Yeah, so it's stage makeup is supposed to look good at about 15 to 20 feet away. I've since for just like costume, picture, special effects makeup, because I'm not, you know, someone who's going to be on stage. I'm not a performer, at least not in that way. Like, I do choir, but I don't think I need to do full on special effects makeup for choir, you know. I don't do it like that. I've since kind of tried to adapt my skills and the things I've learned from that class to still do very dramatic makeup for costume and all of that. But I think that taught me a lot of skills. Like, some of the other things I learned was when you're doing a really dramatic look, especially if you're going to be on stage, but just in general, always make sure to add a little bit of contour along your jawline and on your nose, because if you're going to do a full-on special effects look where there's going to be something really dramatic on like your eyes or your lips, or there's going to be a big wound across your face, you don't want the rest of your features to get lost in that. So even if you do just like a little bit of contouring around your jaw and just like not try and change your nose shape at all, because I don't think I look that great with a contoured nose. I think my nose shape is fine as it is, but when I'm doing a major full-on special effects look, I'll still just add like a very, very light contour along the sides of it, just so you know, the full coverage foundation, the bright and vivid colors all over the rest of my face aren't going to wash that out. So that was like really helpful for me to learn. There was just a whole lot that I've really kind of taken into my everyday makeup / just the makeup that I have fun with around Halloween. It's been pretty good. Okay, I have a couple more palettes that I want to share. That these are both available right now, and these were not available when I took that class, but I have since just kind of taken them into my, you know, they're just good Halloween palettes. The first one is the Shroud Cosmetics Creepy Cute palette. And first of all, I'm really excited for the Shroud and Betty Jean collab. I found out I'm getting that in PR, and I like died. So I think that one is also going to be very quickly added to my Halloween wardrobe. But this one is really nice. I don't use a lot of pastel palettes, but this one and the other one, I'll just go ahead and show y'all because I do have about 10 minutes left. The Sugar Pill Fun Size palette. I think these are both really, really nice. I like using palettes that have a lot of mattes in them when I am doing sort of dramatic special effects makeup. That way I can use it as like an easy blush. And kind of generally speaking, when I'm doing something like that, the texture isn't quite as important so much as a color. And when I kind of blend the colors onto my face, I can add depth and dimension by using like light green, dark, mid-tone green, darker green. So that's kind of what I use. And shimmer just generally isn't the greatest on stage unless you're, you know, doing like a natural look for, you know, like a choir performance, something like that. But as far as doing full on stage makeup, it's not going to show up as well as you think it will. But I love using all matte palettes for that purpose and kind of getting that depth and dimension from simply just using, you know, lighter and darker shades on my face where I want there. Oh, do I need to... Let me pop into the Discord so I can link Bethany's live real quick because she's up in 10 minutes. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do, but okay. There we go. Cool. There. Just posted her live. She's going live at 7. But I did want to share, like, I like all matte palettes for that purpose, and I find that these are both super, super pigmented. They go on really nicely, and as someone who doesn't love a lot of pastels, I think that these work really great. I like this one because it's a little bit more vivid, so you can get kind of a wide variety out of this. And this one is still like very light and pastel-y, but I like using this to kind of layer over. You know, if I use the white Ben Nye cream all over my face, I can kind of fluff this on top to create like an alien type skin tone. I like that a lot. And actually that reminds me, there is one palette that I haven't used for Halloween yet because I haven't owned it on Halloween yet, but I am excited to use this year. And that is the Colored Rain Vivid Pigments palette because it very much fits into the sort of just like colorful mattes that I really like to use for that sort of purpose. And I especially like using the mattes too because if you are doing a sort of like alien-ish skin tone, or like you're just simply not using your regular face color for that, you can use, you know, like a purple, a matte purple, or a matte blue, a matte green, you know, things like that. And I think that that is just like so fun to do, even though I'm not one to do a whole lot of like intense face stuff on a regular basis, since I use a tinted moisturizer and I have a little bit of redness in my face. So a lot of like bright colors on this region I don't find particularly flattering on myself. So I'm not adventurous in that way, despite me being adventurous in a lot of the other ways. But yeah, those are kind of the staples that I have for my stage makeup and costume makeup. I'll occasionally I have used like Sugar Pill false lashes in the past, but I'm really not a huge false lash type of person. I only use that when I think that, like, I did a pop art zombie look a couple years ago and I used a big pair of lashes for that because otherwise my eyes kind of would have gotten lost in that. But otherwise, I just kind of use mascara and it goes great. Thank you, Ruthie, for sharing that it's in my description. Yeah, and yes, the silver and the electric palette. People do say it's bad, but it's actually really nice. Like, I think that I like it because I'm very much like a digging into my eyeshadows type of person. I'm not gentle with my shadows whatsoever. So, when people say that something is hard pressed, that doesn't really deter me at all because I'm just an actual heathen when it comes to that. So that doesn't that doesn't deter me. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left, and each week we each share something for the scavenger hunt that you can see on my Instagram stories is our like little thing for this week. But this week it's like, what's your favorite horror movie? And I have a lot of favorite horror movies, and I actually kind of shared my favorite one last week, so I'm changing it up for this week. And right now, I'm just going to say, in the back of my mind, I'll say the one that's been in the back of my mind for the last little bit or so, and that's the movie Terrifier. And I absolutely love that movie. I'm thinking of doing an Art the Clown look at some point this year, just because, like, everyone's like afraid of Pennywise or something, but Art the Clown just really does it for me. Like, not in a weird way, more in like, he's my favorite clown villain, because he's not necessarily supernatural, just like a big asshole. And that movie is like really gory, so if you're not into gore, do not watch that. But if you're into like Saw and like sort of, I would say, like B-movie type of horror, because the plot, not, it's not something that you watch for the plot. It's something that you watch for the practical effects and the gore. And since I'm talking about special effects, I thought that would be especially appropriate. It's on Netflix, and I know that they were supposed to put out a sequel this year, but I think that got a little bit delayed due to COVID. I still hope that they're able to put it out soon, because that is honestly something that I would really enjoy. But yeah, just watch it for the gory special effects if that's something that you're into. And it's super, super fun. I quite like it. And Art the Clown is hilarious to me. Like, he's awful. He's a serial killer, but he's hilarious. And I think that might say something about my sense of humor that might be a little bit worrisome, but I'll just discuss that on therapy instead of a YouTube live.
I love your sense of humor.
Thanks, babe. Yeah, I do need to rewatch. I think I'm going to rewatch that soonish. But yeah, I could go on and on about how good Terrifier is. But if you want to know the other one that I was considering saying, Midsummer. But since I put Pelle as a villain for last week, I didn't want to, I didn't want to be a movie repeater, because that's probably not a big deal in the long run. Anyway, I'm running out of things to say. Bethany's going live on her channel at 7. Thank you all so much for coming. This was so fun. I love doing this every single week. Thank you to Mo for having the idea for this, for organizing everything. Everyone in the Legata gang is just so amazing and delightful. So I will, let me check and see, is my DoorDash on its way here? But yep, it is here. I got Chinese food. I will see y'all on Bethany's channel. Bye.